You may think it's all doom and gloom in my brain. You may think that as one of the main guys who has been making videos about former Vancouver Canucks captain Quinn Hughes, talking about the guy quitting on the team and doing all this stuff before getting sent over to the Minnesota Wild, you may think that internally, based off of all the salt which I have tossed out there onto the internet, you can say that maybe I don't like this player. And maybe that's true. I don't know. You can let your own thoughts be known in the comment section below. If you're a Canucks fan, do you like Quinn Hughes? I think we can all appreciate him for the amazing talent that he is and was with the Vancouver Canucks. But the way things ended can definitely leave a bad taste in some fans' mouths. But whatever happened over the past year and a half, 2 weeks even, it's not going to change how some of these stories from the past stock up. And that is exactly what I wanted to talk about in this video, about Quinn Hughes, a guy who was taken by the Vancouver Canucks in the 2018 draft 7th overall, and a video that was surfacing on social media earlier this year that talks about how Patrick Kane apparently was trying to convince the Chicago Blackhawks to draft Quinn Hughes. Now, in order to do that, we're going to do something that I try not to do on this YouTube channel due to mostly privacy reasons. We're going to be going over onto Instagram and a post made by Hockey Forever about 9 weeks ago here. Now, it says 9 weeks ago. This is from earlier in the year, but the video and the information included is actually from like 2018, so this is technically old, but the fact that this was getting some traction on October 15th of this year says to me that this is still a pretty interesting topic. So you can see right here, the image post on the front, Patrick Kane tried to convince the Chicago Blackhawks management to draft Quinn Hughes. And if you scroll over to the next slide, you will find a video of Quinn Hughes talking to some of the folks in the NHL draft world. Now, I'm not sure who exactly it is that he is talking to. It's a bunch of guys that are crowded around a table talking to him and listening to him. But ultimately, the information is quite interesting. Quinn Hughes here speaks out on playing with Patrick Kane at the 2018 World Championships prior to being drafted into the NHL. He was unbelievable to me. I told him, try to get me drafted to the Hawks. And Patrick Kane said, yeah, I'm trying. A young Quinn Hughes feeding pucks to prime Patty Kane would have been pure electricity. And obviously, that is one of the things that I think you can say was a missed opportunity for the Chicago Blackhawks in that draft period. Now, a lot of the information here checks out. Just listening to Quinn Hughes talk about Patrick Kane specifically during his time in 2018, it makes sense because back in 2017-18, Quinn Hughes did play for Team USA at the World Championships. He had 2 points in 10 games. This was after his first season with the Michigan Wolverines, and I remember a very particular element of Quinn Hughes' getting drafted by Vancouver was during the television broadcast when he did get selected 7th overall by the Canucks. The folks over there were talking about how, he's a small defenseman, he's 5'10", 181, can he be a top moving defenseman in the National Hockey League? Can he be a top minutes defenseman with that small of a frame? And then there were questions about, his defensive ability. Can he stack up and can he actually play well defensively? And one of the responses that Quinn Hughes had to that idea was, hey, when I played at the World Championships, I didn't lose the puck. He was a +4 in that tournament and he didn't look out of place. Which is why when he jokes around with Patrick Kane saying, yeah, you should try to get me drafted by Chicago, Patrick Kane's like, yeah, I'll try, man. I'm trying. And a try it might have actually been, because if you take a look at that 2018 NHL Entry Draft, we can talk about this till the cows come home. And we have been talking about this ever since 2018 came and went. But Quinn Hughes was a guy that, by all accounts, should have gone a lot higher than 7th overall. He was ranked 6th by Future Considerations, 6th by McKeen's, 8th by TSN and Bob McKenzie because he was a little smaller. And then he was the 6th overall North American skater by NHL Central Scouting. Also, did I see the Why I Want video in there? No, I did not. Oh, I'm hallucinating. But in the 2018 NHL Entry Draft, things got shifted around a little bit because Montreal and Arizona both decided to take centers that weren't projected to go anywhere near this range of the draft. 3rd overall was supposed to be Filip Zadina, but he slipped to number 6 because, firstly, the Ottawa Senators liked Tkachuk more, and also Montreal and Arizona went with Kotkaniemi and Hayden, opening the door for Quinn Hughes to be taken 7th overall by an absolutely ecstatic Jim Benning. 8th overall, right after, was Adam Boqvist for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, I'll always have a really nice, emotional, sentimental connection to the way this draft played out, and Adam Boqvist in particular, as a 25-year-old, 6 feet, 190 right-handed defenseman who, by all accounts, was looking super good in the SHL and the Swedish Junior League. Honestly, a lot of the things that we saw out of Quinn Hughes as a Michigan defenseman, you could debatably put as similar traits for Adam Boqvist in Brinosh, except Boqvist had a little bit more of a goal-scoring element to his game. A little bit smaller, but also offensively talented with edge work and a shot. There's a reason why Boqvist was actually the very first guy that we made a Why I Want video about all those years ago. The idea was, the Vancouver Canucks in this 2017-18 run, they had Olli Juolevi cooking in the pipeline. So what did they need the most? They needed a right-handed defenseman to go alongside of him, which is why I wanted Adam Boqvist. Boqvist was the very first Why I Want episode, and then Quinn Hughes was the very second because he was also a super talented defenseman. Look at all these other names. I mean, Kyle Topping, Kalen Addison, Olivier Auculier is at the bottom, Jack Drury, Kotkaniemi. Drury, by the way, pretty good NHL player nowadays, so I'm happy to see that the prediction there worked out. But Quinn Hughes was the second Why I Want episode. Adam Boqvist was number 1. I am quite disappointed that Boqvist was never able to figure it out in the same way that Quinn Hughes was, although, of course, Quinn Hughes is like second best defenseman in the world. Adam Boqvist is barely in the NHL at this point, so unfortunate for him, but this is the guy that Chicago ended up getting in that 2018 NHL Entry Draft. The idea of Quinn Hughes and Patrick Kane together, though, oh yeah, that would have been awesome. If Quinn Hughes found himself making his NHL debut, 2019-20, he gets 53 points in 68 games and is a point per game in the playoffs. This is in a year where Cale Makar debuts and also does very well. You can see that the point production on Vancouver that year was decent. Not the best, but it was fine. I mean, JT was over a point per game. Pettersson was a point per game. But if you take a look at Patrick Kane and that same 2019-20 version of the Chicago Blackhawks, if you have this team right here, which featured Kane getting 84 points, DeBrincat, Strome, and all these guys, if you added Quinn Hughes, I would assume that Quinn maybe gets the few extra points needed to push past Cale Makar and get that Calder Trophy. And that's mostly off the back of Patrick Kane, who was so dominant in that season's worth of play. No disrespect to JT Miller, but Patrick Kane is just a different kind of animal. So ultimately, I thought it was a funny draft story to be able to share here, how Kane wanted the Hawks to draft Hughes. He was trying to convince them to do so. I honestly feel like if Quinn Hughes slipped past number 7 and he was available at number 8, the Blackhawks probably would have taken him, considering the fact that they did indeed take Adam Boqvist, who was a similarly profiled D-man. Either that, or maybe they go with Bouchard. Who really knows? But all things considered, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Patrick Kane trying to convince the Blackhawks to take Quinn Hughes in the 2018 draft? This was posted a few weeks ago. I thought it was interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.